The Farm Bureau guest line right now. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Coach, I know you're going to hang it up. We've talked about that, but I hope you're okay with waiting just a little bit longer before you put the turfs away and you set that hard hat on the shelf for good.
Yeah, I'll put it on hold for a little bit. I have no problem doing that, Richard.
What a weekend, Coach. You really are not making this easy on yourself. Your place last year, you got to go through the losers bracket. You don't stay on the winner's side of the bracket at the conference tournament, and you find a way to get it done. And again this weekend, lose that opening game, and the road is really difficult, and the numbers are stacked against you historically when that happens. But somehow you guys found a way. What a weekend.
Yeah, it really was. I'm most proud of our guys and how they were able to stay the course. We talk a lot about steady wins the race, and, there's plenty of ups and downs that happen in this game, and you can't get caught up in that and the highs and the lows. You just got to go out for the next opportunity and take advantage of it the best you can, and certainly that's what happened. This year we lost in the first game against Samford, so, we're in the losers bracket right off the bat. So we really had to be pretty tough-minded and be mature about what we were having to do. And last year we had lost in the second game, and that was against LSU, and we had to battle our way back. But, I couldn't be any more proud of our guys and how they stayed the course, in all honesty, and they kept punching back. And those next four games were not easy, trust me, and especially Saturday where we started at 2 o'clock. We had over a 2 hour, I think about a 2 hour and 16-minute rain delay that pushed us deep into the night on the second game. And we got back to the hotel about 12:30 and had to turn it right back around and be back at the park for BP at 11:36. So we literally played three games in about 27 hours in that time period. And I'll be honest, our guys never looked like they were tired a bit. And, we talked a lot about the mental side, and what you think and what you tell yourself is what your body's going to do. And certainly they adhered to that, exactly just that. They looked fresh all the way through.
Scott, deep down, did you feel like your team caught a little bit of a break when Penn beat Auburn? So you lose that game to Samford, and as disappointed as you are, does that give you a little more life to see that the one seed lost their first game as well?
It really did, Richard. And, I've always been under the notion that, it's not the opponent that you're playing. You got to have an opponent to play that game, and let's focus on the game and winning the game. And watching Penn and Auburn go back and forth, and obviously that went in extra innings, and Penn won it. I was very impressed with Penn. I was like, holy cow! This is a really good team, and we had been told that. They made a swing through the South back on spring break, where they started at Lamar and went to Nicholls State and ended up with Tulane. And our sources told us that this is a really good team, and you could tell they were well coached. They really played the game fast. And I was very impressed. So I knew if we were to beat Auburn and we were going to have to face, hopefully Penn at some point after Samford had lost to them, that we were going to be a great challenge against them because they were a really good team. But it just so happens that us and Auburn meet in that losers bracket game on day two, and fortunately we just played a little better than they did.
Do you think there's any way to figure out just to only pitch Justin Storm in elimination games?
Golly, how about that? It mirrored the LSU game last year. He went 5 1/3 last year. I think struck out 9 and 8 or 9, had a walk, only gave up 3 hits. And certainly when we brought him in that night against Penn, Penn they were starting to get some really good swings off of Nico. And our plan was to go with Nico as long as we could. And certainly we're trying to keep as much staff available for a game on Monday if we could win that one. But we knew we had to do everything we could to win Sunday night. And then, of course, it was to go to Justin and let him go as long as he could. And we just saw that a week ago against Lafayette in that game, in that championship game. He did the same thing. But he was as dominant as I've seen in a long time. He retired 16 the first 16 batters he faced and retired 17 of the 18 for the game that he faced with 10 strikeouts and no walks and just the one hit over 5 2/3 innings. I mean, it literally looked like a big league pitcher out there. It was pretty dominant.
Scott, you've always prioritized health for your players and done what is best for them, whether it's what they want or not. So tell me about the decision to roll back with Tanner Hall on a short rest situation. Was that your idea? Was it his idea? What was the conversation like?
Well, it was his idea. You know, when we got to the park, Oz and I, my pitching coach and my successor at this position, we talked that morning and said, let's get to the park. Let's just see how everybody feels, and we'll go from there. And so he said, I've gotten word from Danny Lynch that Tanner wants the ball. And I was like, well, he ain't getting the ball. I mean, we're just not going to go there with that. And so we got to the park, and Oz was like, he wants to talk to you. So I went down there to him, and he said, Coach, I'm fine. I'm telling you, I'm fine. Let me get us out the gate. This will be a bullpen day for me anyway. I'm not worried about trying to overthrow. I'll work my sinker and try to work under the barrels. And that's what he did. And I said, you are sure you feel good? He said, my arm feels great. It feels no different than if I had my 6 days off with it. So we said, all right, let's take us out the gate. And that's what he did for the first 2 innings. And then we just kind of rolled with some other plans. Billy Odom, I mean, he was another one that he beat Auburn there on Friday, or I'm sorry, on Saturday. And he was available for 3 innings, and then after the 3rd inning, he was like, "Hey, I'm toast. I can't do it anymore." And then,
and that's what you got to have, right? Don't you have to have your pitchers be willing to be honest with you in that situation?
100%. You know, and I think at the end of the day, you have to be the coach, and just like if it's your own kids, you have to be the parent. You have to make the decision that's what's best. But certainly in that situation, you know that those guys are competitors. You know that they're not ready for their season to end, and with everything that they feel like they could give us, they're gonna do that, and that's what they want to do. And you know, we certainly didn't push anybody past what would be unnormal for them, or safety issues. So
yeah.
We just had some competitive guys that stepped up that really wanted to see this thing through and get the job done, and that's exactly what they did.
All right, Tennessee Vols coming in this weekend. It's a good baseball team. The one thing to me that has kind of stood out, and they flipped it on their head this weekend with the way they played in the Clemson Regional, they haven't been very good away from Knoxville. They've struggled to win games outside of Lindsey Nelson Stadium. But I'm guessing as you look at them, I mean, is pitching where you start when they just you kind of look at them as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I watched them the other night with Clemson in that 14-inning game. As I was watching, I think Sanford and I don't know if it was Sanford and Penn, whoever it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
And they're just, big league arms after big league arms, depth in that pen. I mean, they just kept bringing them out there, and certainly it starts on the mound. They have guys with some really, really good stuff. And, obviously in the field, they have position players with a high skill set that are very athletic and do theirs. So they're a very good baseball team, and one that's, playing well to go over there in that regional where Clemson was probably the hottest team in the country.
Yeah.
And to win that regional out of there, certainly that gives them a good feeling of momentum, just like it does with us, going to Auburn and on the road and being able to take that from the host side as well.
When you went to bed last night, did you think you were going to get the news this morning that you were headed to Knoxville, or did you think it was going to be at your place?
I really didn't know. I know it was what I had been told. It was going to be in the committee's hands with that, and it was not based on the metrics of RPI, strength of schedule, quad 4. It wasn't any of that. It was the handbook reads that when the two are head to head, neither are the host, and the next two that fall in there are the same seed, which we are. We were a 2 seed. They were a 2 seed. Then it goes down to the things that NCAA is listed as amenities, the facilities, availability of hotels, past revenue that has been produced through regionals and super regionals. It seemed like to me it was about money at that point. Who was going to make the most money for them. So, I knew that we had a very good showing last year in our regional and super regional, and I knew we had outdrawn them in those last year from what they did. And, of course, our capacity, I think, is a little bit more than theirs last year. I think they've added some, but they go on the history. So I knew we had a pretty good chance with it. And certainly we were in those discussions for a regional before, and we didn't get it. So I was hoping with our resume and what we had done that, that might push us across the line. And fortunately, I think it did.
Well, congratulations. It's going to be a great scene at Pete Taylor Park this weekend. Can't wait to watch, Coach. Good luck.
Well, thank you.